decision over Christmas to trace our family tree.
Ancestry websites say they had tens of thousands of inquiries on Boxing Day alone. Well, we're joined now by Deborah Chatfield, who's from the genealogy website Find My Past, and Laura Barnsley, who's traced her family history. Well, good morning, both. So would you be surprised by this figure, that 10,000 inquiries then on Boxing Day? Does that sound about right?
No, that doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, we see ourselves that, in fact, traffic on our website trebles on Boxing Day.
Just because people sit and chat about the past and they think,
yes, I think so. I think we know that a lot of people spend Christmas with more than 3 generations of their family, and I think it is an opportunity to talk to your your older relatives, and we know people are inspired to do their family history just from listening to family history stories. So I know that's how I started out, just sort of finding out about things that my mother had told me, and just checking out what was true and finding out further information.
Laura, were you inspired by a Christmas get-together?
By a get-together, yes, of 3 generations, and my grandmother started talking about her aunts and uncles and mentioned about an Aunt Pink. So I thought, at the time, the 1901 census had just been released, so I started searching for her. Didn't find her, but I found the rest of the family and carried on from there.
Is it a difficult trail to follow?
It can be. There's lots of dead ends or false paths that you can end up going down. But I find it fascinating just to see where they were and what they were doing.
Yeah, what were those nuggets of information in there? We'll ask both of you this, but first of all, you, what did you find that perhaps most surprised you? Or
I found a bigamist.
Shocking.
When was that?
The Old Bailey, Sheffield University released all the Old Bailey notes of all the cases, and in 1884 my 3 times great uncle was, he wasn't indicted, it was his wife. And she was sentenced to 1 month's hard labour. Oh.
Disgraceful. On a brighter note, Laura, we have a picture of your great-granddad George. Now, just explain us a little about this.
He was a scrap iron and metal merchant, not a steptoe and son, but he lived and worked in West Ham, and that's him with his son George as well. And I actually went down quite a few years ago, went down and had a look at the site where it was.
Right.
How lovely, and walked in the footsteps as well. And Deborah, what about you? Who are you most pleased to find?
I was quite touched by the fact that I have several generations of blacksmiths in my family, from down in Devon. So I'm a city girl myself and sort of always worked in London. But I found out that I have sort of 3 or 4 generations of the eldest son, and each one passed the trade from.
Now, we do have a picture of your maternal great-grandfather. Was he one of those?
He was from Devon, yes, and he certainly came from that line. But he ended up in London, I think, working on a tram.
Right.
It does give you a connection with the past. I had to research my great-great-grandfather from the First World War, and it was astonishing to find, as you say, when you actually sort of walk in their footsteps, it does give you a much closer connection. What would you say to people who are watching that they think, oh, actually, I'd be quite inspired to do that now? Where's the best place to start?
I think the internet is a good place to start. I think people are finding it a lot easier to research their family tree now because they can do it from the comfort of their own home. You don't actually have to go to archives anymore or libraries. So you're not restricted by opening hours or anything like that.
And there are so many documents that people have in their possession that they possibly consider not to be important. I mean, you have brought into us today a photograph of your grandfather's paybook from his days in the Second World War.
That's right, yes.
We can have a look at that. And what does this tell you about him?
This gives some information, a physical description. It tells me that he was 5 foot 2 1/4 inches tall. That gives me his date of birth, which of course is a very, very useful piece of information if you want to research your family history, because you can actually obtain the birth certificate, which will then tell me who his parents were and where they were living. And it gives some other little sort of charming details, like he had a scar on his left forearm, apparently.
I suppose one of the lessons, Laura, would be to us today is never throw anything away, because it will be of value.
Oh, yes. My grandmother died last year, and going through her papers I found birth, marriage and death certificates of siblings, insurance certificates and insurance pay books and all sorts
Don't
of...
tell me that. I'm starting to declutter for the new year.
And maybe a few unclaimed lottery tickets. You never know. You never know.
Good to see you. Thank you
Thank
very
you
much
both
for
very
coming
much
in.
and good
Thank
luck.
you.